Supply and deer demand. Tim is after fallow bucks on turnips, but COVID closed restaurants and stopped hunters hunting. Result, there's loads of deer, a management plan to work to, and no one wants your venison. What do you do?
Okay, let's be sensible, David. Let's grow up a bit. Go for size. Right. Let's get back where Hey, aboard. Go.
New blood. We share a pigeon hide with BASC's Director of Pathways to Shooting and talk dog training and how we reach out to the non-shooting public. More harm than good. How bird ringing and tagging persecutes the birds. It's designed to help. We have news, we have hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Hunting loses its romantic edge when you start talking about market forces. But money and hunting are inextricably linked. Not that you would think it this evening. We're in Sussex and Tim is being shown around some ground that's bursting with fallow.
Okay, we've got a field of stubble turnips which are used for the sheep over winter. And the deer really love stubble turnips. We just walked up the top and looked down, you can see there's a youngster, I think it's a doe down there. So I think what we can try and do is get up to, if we can, get on the high seat. I think we could be exposed, but if we can get up the high seat without spooking that doe, I think that perhaps we just wait up in this high seat for a while, just see if they come out of the wood.
A friend has invited him to assist with the deer management plan on this estate. In total, 100 deer need to be shot. That's all well and good, but what about the venison management plan? More on that in a bit. First, this is a first.
Do you know, this is really strange, but Dave and I go back a long time, and this is the first time ever we've actually filmed me shooting or hunting, stalking deer in the UK. We've been to Argentina, we've been to Spain, we've been to all over the place, Sweden as well, you know, it's amazing. So we've never hunted deer together. Yeah.
It's all looking very promising. Smokes, our guide, leaves us to it, and like kids in a sweet shop, we decide to open the lemon sherbets instead of sitting where we were told.
High seat or stalk? I think we're going stalking. Oh my goodness, there's some bucks turning up. We need to get going, come on. Look, there's some bucks down there.
Well, that didn't work out at all well. Our move cleared the field. It appears we timed it perfectly with a change in wind direction. In that case, we should be okay in the field down to our left. Again, the wind interrupts our progress.
I'm not too sure whether we should go into the wood and see if we can go further around the field and see if we can get onto them a bit more. At the moment they're 350 odd metres away, so it's too far for a shot for me at the moment. So I think that I'm just concerned about this wind because it's all over the place. Look at it, it's getting straight towards them now. Bloody hell. That's nature for you. It's just, that's what we stalk actually, to be fair, because it's never straightforward. Well, it's very rarely straightforward, quite honestly, and this is what we test your patience, because it's so easy to storm on and go, yeah, but actually you probably just need to have a bit of a think and just have a see if there's another way of getting around this wood.
Just tell me about the numbers on here, because the job needs to be done, but unfortunately we know there's a market for these, but there isn't a market. The market's on its backside, isn't it?
Well, on this estate, the cull plan is, and those rules, not rules, but the Forestry Commission have asked us to remove 100 beasts. There's too many deer, there's too much damage to the trees, so which is fine. You still got to get the 100 beasts, but the other problem is that what do we do with the venison, because the market is flat. There's nobody wants it. Not many dealers are actually accepting venison at the moment, so you've got this issue. Actually, we've got to be under pressure to take the beasts, but we've got nowhere to sell the venison. So it's a very interesting situation to be in at the moment, which is such a shame because we should be out here just taking these beasts out. But if you haven't got a market for the venison, what do you do with it? So that's what a lot of people are thinking now. We need to make our own market, so we need to have our own chiller rooms, preparation rooms, and actually start with maybe retailing or supplying it to retails. And I think that's what a lot of gamekeepers and stalkers and people like that are doing now. So it's an opportunity perhaps for us to actually really have a go and push our product into the public. So you know, that's the way it goes sometimes, but it's frustrating as heck because you want to take these beasts out, but with no market, what's the point?
If not deer, then pigeons. It was only a few months ago we were having the same conversation about supply and demand with Andy. Will game birds be next?
They're back again. It's like tennis, yeah. They're gone. We go over there. They come back and they've appeared again. So they look like does at the moment. But I think what we do now, they're right at the far end of the field. We can't shoot because there's no backstop. So I think what we do, I'm going to go along and hopefully there's an oak tree in the middle of the field. I'm going to try and get behind that if I can. So either that we wait till they come this way, but I'm not very happy with the safety of that shot at the moment. So let's get to the oak tree first and we just wait up there, I think. The problem we've got is that we really need to get some deer on the deck. So I think we've had our play, we've failed miserably. Nature is against us, so I think we've got to go for the high seat, unfortunately. Okay, let's be sensible, David. Let's grow up a bit, go for something. Right, let's get back where we can. Hey, aboard, aboard. Go, 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 go. Right, get out of it.
As we wait for the deer to choose a turnip with a backstop, Tim talks through his Remington rifle package.
Tonight I'm shooting with it's a Remington on steroids in some ways. It's a standard Remington stainless steel rifle, but it's actually got a few improvements, which is really good to see. So we've got a laminated form stock. Now these stocks are made in Devon actually. Beautifully put together, and they're kind of a laminated kind of, they're not thumb hole, they're thumbs up. So they do grip nicely. Got an adjustable cheek piece, and if you want a length of pull adjustment, it's another 150 quid, but anyway. We've got some GPO optics, German precision optics, really good clarity. I've just been checking there's a buck on the right hand side here. Really good quality and really good clarity, and quite bright at the moment. And also we've got Ray Trade, got their own moderator, which is a very light moderator. So overall we've got a basically standard Remington, but it's been improved, it's been enhanced. And it makes it a very comfortable rifle. I'm rather hoping as the night draws in, I think we've got about half an hour's worth of shooting light left. I'm rather hoping they just come forward a bit. There's a buck on the right hand side there at the moment, there's two other bucks further down. I was rather hoping that they would just all we've got to do is come this way about 40 yards and I can get a safe shot on them, but they're about 180 yards at the moment, so I'm more than happy with that, but they're just not safe. So it's all about patience now, and if any more come out from the bottom there, we should have ourselves hopefully a buck or two tonight. So we just had to wait up and see how they move away, hopefully away from the wood and get into the middle of the field. It's double turnips, they love it, so hopefully there's enough there to keep them there.
As the light fades, so do our chances of seeing a buck with some earth behind it. In the darkest corner of a field, we spot a deer missing its front leg. Something to take a look at next time.
I mean, that's deer stalking. In some ways that's why we do it. You don't expect to get a beast every time we go out. And that's what makes it such a challenge. That's what makes it such a fascinating sport, hobby or way of life actually.
We end up without a deer, but if we had, there was a game dealer willing to buy it. However, in this world of the new normal, maybe hunters should be taking more control of the meat they harvest. There are plenty of game handling and meat and hygiene courses on offer, qualifying you to sell game. And if the traditional route to market is not working, or paying any more for a quality product, perhaps it requires rethinking. Thank you, Tim. And if there's a supply and demand issue where you are and you're developing your own local market, please let us know. Right from marketable goods to perishables. It's David on the Fieldsports channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Scotland is to move the opening of the hind stalking season to the 1st of September for its deer culling contractors. In an effort to catch up with its publicly funded deer slaughter, now thought to be months and tens of thousands of animals behind schedule, the government-owned Forestry and Land Scotland plans to make out-of-season culling of female deer and dependents legal from the 1st of September, either on general licence or Section 5.6 authorisation granted by Scottish Natural Heritage. With calves still dependent on hinds, many stalkers are outraged on welfare grounds. The red deer season in Scotland for other deer stalkers remains the same. Did Chris Packham slip up in his marathon broadcasts on social media last week? As part of video posts that accompanied a mass lobbying of members of UK parliaments and assemblies, he admits that the RSPB believes only a minority of gamekeepers are involved in raptor persecution.
One of the most shocking things that came through when we were doing Hen Harrier Day was an interview that I had with Guy Shorrock, a long-standing member of the RSPB's investigations team. And what he said that was so poignant was that it's just a tiny handful of men, principally men, of course, who are doing this enormous damage when they're impacting on, as you mentioned, these charismatic bird populations. He suggested that it could be as few as 100 people that are stopping golden eagle, hen harrier, goshawk in some places, shorted owls, all of these birds from prospering. Just a tiny number of people, a tiny number of criminals. It's extraordinarily sad, isn't it, in the 21st century?
The admission follows years of Packham and the RSPB building a PR campaign around raptor persecution as a defining issue, and yet they admit here they believe it's only 100 people committing the crimes.
There are around 600,000 firearms and shotgun certificate holders in England and Wales, and over 1 million people involved in shooting. So 100 represents less than 0.1% of the overall shooting community. Now that 0.1% cannot be allowed to drive an anti-shooting agenda against shooting. That 0.1% cannot be allowed to alter decision makers' views. It is 0.1%, and while we must reduce that and stamp it out, it is not representative of the broader shooting community and the many benefits that we bring for conservation and communities alike.
Meanwhile, Packham's stepdaughter Megan McCubbin, now his co-presenter on BBC Wildlife television programme Springwatch, has recently been appointed as the new youth ambassador for the League Against Cruel Sports. Game shooting is good for the environment, but could do better. That's the conclusion of a review by the English government. However, a report in the Daily Telegraph shows that anti-shooting elements in government are keen to spin the review as evidence for a ban. The newspaper says that the review is a warning from Natural England that the game bird industry must change to protect the environment. Careful reading of the review, produced jointly by Natural England and BASC, reveals there is no such call. A week after badger cull sabs exposed the identities and details of hundreds of cullers online, they've done it again. This time the victim was a contractor who makes tracking devices. Not only have the sabs splashed his face onto social media, as well as his mobile phone number and address, but also photos of what it looks like inside his house that look like they've been taken from a property website. On Facebook, Innocent Badger, the group responsible for last week's leak, quoted a friend of the man saying he was petrified and about to crack. Surrey police are investigating. Police forces are issuing advice about dog thefts after an increase in cases this summer. These are 3 Cocker Spaniels taken from a car in Pudsey, West Yorkshire, by a round-faced, dark-haired man in his late 20s, driving a black 5-door 2006 plate Vauxhall Corsa with a loud exhaust and a number plate tied on with string. One of the dogs belongs to a Fieldsports Channel viewer. The Times newspaper reports on the increasing use of pet detectives called in to tackle the rise in dog theft. Bedfordshire Police is trying to reassure dog owners that they're taking thefts seriously, and Cambridgeshire Police released this video about how to protect your dogs. A farmer in a Dorset village is appealing for help after sheep were deliberately run over. The culprit or culprits are thought to have driven off along a main road near the village of Sixpenny Handley into a field of ewes and lambs and mown down the animals in their sleep before driving off. Facebook user Lauren Millard is asking for anyone in the village who saw anything suspicious on the night of the 21st of August 2020 to call the police. Painting one blade of a wind turbine reduces bird fatalities, according to a new study. Scientists in Norway say the simple action reduces avian deaths by 72%. The scientists at the Norwegian Institute for Nature Research examined bird death data from 2006 to 2016 at a farm off the country's west coast. They say the white turbines appear to birds as a motion blur, so they don't see them, but the black one registers. They hope the results of their research will make wind turbines more appealing and reduce public opposition to them. A game reserve in South Africa is selling its game meat in order to get through the coronavirus crisis. Somkanda Game Reserve is owned by the local community and co-managed by the Wildlands, a programme of the anti-hunting body Wild Trust. The reserve is selling the venison as stew, meat, hamburger, sausages and mince to make up for money lost during the lockdown. The reserve plans to sell up to 800 animals this year and says so far the meat, which is relatively cheaper than the local farm livestock, has been popular.
A thing called the wildlife economy, and it's working. We're selling in big markets. Even health conscious people that are worried about the planet and the impact of intensive agriculture, especially cattle farming, are looking at venison as an alternative. And as people learn how to actually cook it and prepare it properly, it's becoming quite a stock item on people's tables.
Meanwhile, lockdown in Kenya has left millions unemployed and hungry, and game animals are under threat. With hunting banned, the only group of people defending animals in Kenya are the government-run Kenya Wildlife Service. They're not well resourced enough to prevent locals poaching endangered animals to survive. What's private and what's public in the USA? Two hunters are about to find out for us. A pair of Tennessee property owners called Terry Rainwaters and appropriately Hunter Hollingsworth are suing the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, or TWRA, for what they call illegal surveillance. According to the lawsuit, the TWRA climbed fences and walked past no trespass signs to place trail cams on private property in order to observe hunting activities. The TWRA maintains the practice is legal because of a 1929 ruling that says property owners have no reasonable expectation of privacy on any private lands the court deems to be open field. The TWRA tried to get the case thrown out, but Judge Charles McGinley is allowing the hunters' suit to move forward. The two men are represented by a legal team from civil liberties law firm, the Institute for Justice.
Both of them have experienced unwanted intrusions by Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency officers. The officers have been wandering around their properties without a warrant or their consent. They've been recording video footage of the properties, and they've even been installing cameras in their trees to watch them 24/7. This case is about trying to put a stop to those practices.
France has a new darling. Joanna Clermont is the face of French hunting on Instagram. With more than 120,000 followers and a sponsorship contract from Browning, the 23-year-old law student posts pictures of herself shooting and hunting everything from grouse to wild boar, as well as photos of herself in glamorous locations. She is on a poster campaign on the Paris Metro for a new hunting TV network called Zone 300, and she's already getting death threats. But she's used to anti-hunt violence, following an assault on her by animal rights extremists when she was 18 years old.
Thank you, David. And there's more news on our website, funded as ever by the Fieldsports Nation. Thanks so much to those of you who have joined in the last few weeks. Our advertisers pay for our nice feature films, our membership schemes on YouTube, Patreon, Facebook, and our shareholder scheme all pay for our news coverage. You can find out about the Fieldsports Nation on our website, and this week they're all entering a draw to win this rather super torch. Back to our advertisers, and here is a little tease from Beretta. It is the launch of a new Beretta game gun, and Beretta is holding a live webinar to launch it tomorrow, Thursday the 27th of August at 5:30 p.m, which you can watch online. If you are a Beretta game shooter, and we know from our recent research that nearly a third of you are, make a date in your diary to visit perfectshot.beretta.com. 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, link in the description below. Next up, Curtis Mossop used to educate aspiring gamekeepers. Now he is trying to educate the masses. Curtis Mossop is a gamekeeper turned educator.
I think the pigeon shooting, you get everything. You get a kind of driven grouse target, you get a kind of partridge, you get a pheasant, you get a duck, you get a bit of everything. So it tests, and you'll see how much it tests me today as well. You will see.
He used to preach to the converted as a senior lecturer at Gamekeeping College Newton Rig. Now he's trying to do the converting as BASC's head of pathways to shooting. Basically, he's gone from low-hanging fruit to fruit that's a bit higher and requires an encouraging shake.
What are sort of the key messages that you would advise people to get across?
Yeah, no, and it's something that we all come across. I think that the main thing is use language they would understand. I think we're all very guilty of using quite kind of either regional dialect or kind of like things like poult and hopper and things like that we all know and love, but people don't understand those terms. So use a language that they know and they understand, and back it up with fact. Tell them, look, when I did this or when I did that, give them some physical examples of when things have happened, and ultimately just invite them out. If you're going on a pigeon day like I am now, bring some with you, let them see it. Yes, pigeons are cold, but we're protecting farmers' crops and we actually get a really tasty bit of food at the end of it. They've got to see the whole journey, and people will soon realise what we're doing isn't the kind of the big bad shooters that we're portrayed to be.
We are on a rape stubble near Warrington, and he has brought gin. She is part of the same line of labs bred by the Mossop family for generations.
You must have trained a lot of dogs. Give me one dog training tip.
It's not so much a tip, but it's just spending as much time as you physically can. So I've got a lot of dogs and I've had a lot of dogs. It's just spend time with them and spend even more time. As I can't stress that enough, is just have them with you. And it's easy for me to say, but I have had the jobs in order I could do that. But have them with you when you're doing your kind of chores, your day chores, when you're doing your kennel, when you're out in your car. They've got to see you. Gin, come here. They've got to see you as their kind of their world. And that's what I do. I prefer bitches myself personally. I feel I have that bond with them that they want to be with me. It's not, I don't want to battle with a headstrong dog. I want these dogs just to want me and nothing else. So I like really affectionate dogs. Go on, get on picture here. I love really affectionate dogs. And all they want to do is an eager to please. And they don't really want to upset dad. And that's what it is. And again, all you've got to do is go, a little raising voice, and the girls, my girls, know that, oh, dad's getting a bit upset, and I don't have to battle with them, I don't have to fight with them, and Gin, come here. Yeah, so it's just spend as much time as you physically can. If you've got an older dog that the young dogs could learn off, again, that's always a massive benefit. So I've always had the mums of my pups, again, been quite fortunate in that respect. So this one has watched her mum, and who's watched her mum, and they pick up so much quicker than a dog without watching its adult. I've seen it. I actually did a little bit of experiment. So I kept this one and I kept her sister Willow, litter sisters out of a litter off her mum, Fen, and they were chalk and cheese. So the black one that isn't here today was the one that was always getting in trouble, always tipping the dog food bowl, of always escaping, just a bit of a nightmare to be honest. And this one here, this one was the run to the litter, the one that was at the back, that wasn't really kind of feeding. I thought, right, I'll just keep that one, because everyone says, oh, get the first one that comes to you, get one that jumps their box, that's the best. Never ever get the one at the back. So, okay, so I kept on for an experiment. And as it happens, they've done a complete role reversal. So the black one now is incredibly timid in one sense, very, very obedient, but if you raise your voice, it kind of, oh. Whereas this one is just a bit of a powerhouse. It's a Labrador with a spaniel's head, and that came from the run to litter. I had to hand feed. So yeah, don't always believe the old adages. Do it yourself, give it a go.
Curtis is passionate about his job and his way of life. This year should have seen him having lots of face-to-face conversations with non-shooters all over the country. Instead, he's had to go virtual. But it won't be long before Mr. Mossop is back out there shaking those branches and educating those masses. For more information, go to basc.org.uk.
Come on, Gin. Good girl.
Thank you, Curtis. And if you want to see the full film, please follow the link in the description or head to BASC's YouTube channel. Next up, ringing birds has been going on for just over a century, and incredibly there have been few changes to the technique in what is generally regarded as conservation. Scientists say that tracking birds is vital to know more about them and ultimately protecting them. Could it be that all this interference from humans is making life harder for the birds? Our news editor, Ben O'Rourke, finds out.
People say, why do you do it, bird ringing? Well, I suppose the first up answer really is because you love birds, and I love handling them. It's such close contact, just beautiful creatures, as far as I'm concerned. The finest sort of life form on this planet, the birds. So that's my view, always will be. And just having the right to actually catch and handle them is basically a terrific pleasure. And the fact that I'm doing it for the purpose of learning about their lives, getting information about how long they live, where they go, how they move, migration routes. It's that justifies it. That justifies my pleasure in getting hold of them.
Wilf Norman is the top bird ringer in North Yorkshire, perhaps the whole of North East England. He's been doing it for nearly 50 years and was a co-founder in 1976 of the South Cleveland Ringing Group. However, bird ringing is coming under increasing scrutiny, with some saying it is bad for birds.
I think we've ringed somewhere in the region of about 160,000 birds since then, which isn't a lot by a lot of group standards.
These days he mainly rings merlins on the North York moors. Ringers catch the birds in nets or traps, or take them from nests. Then they clamp metal rings round their legs. They weigh the chicks and measure their wings, which helps tell their sex. Natural England rules mean British Trust for Ornithology ringers have access to rare bird nests via licences issued to them by government environment departments across the UK. Landowners and wildlife managers do not have the same access to these licences.
Not anyone can just do this. You need to train with a qualified ringer for a period of years until he thinks you're capable of having your own licence.
For a lot of the Scheduled 1 species, the landowner can't go and disturb them, or his representative, i.e. the gamekeeper, can't go along to that nest. But at the same time, the ringer needs the landowner's permission. He's got the licence to go and visit the nest, but he can't just use the Open Access, the Crow Act, to go onto that land and start ringing willy-nilly. You still need to be cooperating with the ringers, the landowners, the gamekeepers, should all be working together to conserve the whole species.
Former senior wildlife ranger for the Hawk and Owl Trust, John Kavanagh, takes a less hands-on approach to bird conservation.
There's an open front box up at the top where we've had the missel thrushes in. Then in the wall backs and the hedgerows and the trees, we've got open-fronted nest boxes, we've got tip boxes, we've got owl boxes, we've got tawny owl and barn owl on the same hedgerow nesting side by side. A lot of the smaller boxes have been habited this year, but we don't need to go and push it that much further and say, right, I need to go in there, open the box up and start putting steel rings around the legs. We know they're doing well. So in total, during lockdown in this area, from here we've spotted over 70 different species of birds. I like to see them nest, hatch and fledge. We create the habitat, we want them to do well, we want them to thrive. There's a fine line between them thriving and us interfering with them.
A bird ringer can approach a Schedule 1 nest, the nest of a rare bird, under licence with up to 2 unlicensed assistants. Gamekeepers and landowners accuse bird ringers of taking large parties of people, including paying customers, to the nests of rare birds. RSPB staff killed an osprey chick when it fell from its nest as they tried to attach a tag to it. Ringing is billed as conservation, but looking at blogs and bird groups online, you can't ignore the spirit of competition and sense of ownership of the birds. Who can ring the most and how far can they go?
One thing I really resent is the fact that as a group, we never had a group bird recovered south of the Sahara. Yeah, never had one. The furthest we've got in Africa is Morocco. I ringed a lot of years ago. We ringed a golden plover chick on the moors here, and that was shot in Morocco the following winter. There's a bird ringer. When you put a ring on a bird, what you're doing is basically you're giving it an individual identity. You know, that's a unique ring number. But unfortunately, you need to recatch it, or it needs to be refound in order to get some data.
Ringing may be bad for birds, but it has produced plenty of data. Since the BTO set up in 1933, its members have ringed 36 million birds in the UK. The BTO reports 700,000 rings recovered, about 1 in every 50. The practice hasn't changed much over the years. Pit tags, passive integrated transponders, are the only revolution. They're usually fitted as a second ring on the bird's other leg.
Now these little chips, they're the same sort of chips that go inside your pet. There's the equipment you can buy, which is what's called a logger. It's a ring which goes around the clutch of eggs or the small brood. The bird goes on and it's carrying one of these tags. It will trigger the logger. You can get information back on as far as Merlins goes, what proportion of your population's coming back. You know, what proportion of young birds are actually surviving.
When a bird incubates its eggs, it needs to turn and roll them eggs, and quite often it'll use its chest, it'll use its legs, steel rings on either side. We all know an eggshell is very fragile. It can cause false turning, so therefore you get a false incubation or actual damage to the egg. And then the other thing is, with the transponder round, a visible black ring around the nest for the parent bird, it could easily put them off not to return to the nest. And there is evidence that this is happening, which then causes eggs to fail or chicks to starve and die in an inhumane way.
I did try it. I've got the equipment. It's quite. We managed to get it purchased. It's quite expensive. It's sat in my loft at the moment doing nothing because we had a few problems with it, nests failing, and I wasn't too happy with the system. I think the way ahead is, I think ringing it might be numbered really. I think it's rapidly going to be overtaken by this satellite tagging. It's a very expensive process. The tags cost quite a bit, and satellite time, I think you're talking about 2,500–3,000 a shot to put a satellite tag on a bird.
One tag.
Yeah, one tag, yeah.
The ring is technology 100 years ago. We've moved forward so much with the technology. We can monitor the optics that we've got now to film, photograph and see birds are far better. We can see birds clearer now with some of the camera equipment we've got. And we can do that at a distance. We don't need to go in and interfere with the nests.
The days when binoculars and cameras can recognise birds and upload their location and information are not far away. You can already take a photo of a bird, upload to your phone through Wi-Fi, use an app to identify it, and publish the information online. The problem for birds remains. Human obsession and meddling will mean they may die for what bird ringers say is a greater good.
Thank you, Ben. Seems to me that some bird ringers are more competitive than some shooters. If you want to say anything about that piece, please leave your comment below. Now, what vehicles do you drive for shooting? In March, while you were all trapped in lockdown, we did some research, we found out, and here are the results. We're tackling vehicles in this item. The big vehicles you go shooting in and the little UTVs and quad bikes you use to get around your ground. We carried out this survey in March 2020 when everyone was trapped in lockdown and 3,500 of you responded. Now we're out, it's time for the results. Nearly 400 of you answered the SUV survey, more than a quarter of those also have quad bikes and UTVs, so let's start with the small stuff. We asked you to rate your 4, 6 or 8 wheelers' attributes, and you give the prize for comfort to Yamaha, mainly the Yamaha Kodiak. Yamaha also wins the prize for customer service. For off-roadability, you're most keen on both the John Deere Gator and the Suzuki King Quad. As for the big winner, it's Honda, with more than a third of the quad bike market amongst Fieldsports Channel viewers. And you are most likely to own a Honda Foreman, which also wins your choice for reliability and value for money. Now your cars. There's one fairly unpopular make that makes it onto the list and comes top for comfort and for economy. It's Volkswagen, and your popular choice of model is the VW Amarok. Voted top for reliability and value for money, you can't beat Subaru according to our viewers. Those of you with a Subaru mainly choose the Subaru Forester. We all like off-roadability, and for that you give the most votes to Suzuki, where you like the Suzuki Jimny the most. If you're thinking about the brands, the most popular vehicle manufacturer among our viewers is, of course, Land Rover with 28% of the market, followed by Toyota with 22% and Mitsubishi with 10%. Let's end on our very own TOTVP, Top of the Vehicle Pops, the top 10 of vehicles ranked by sheer popularity among our viewers. In number 10, it's the Mitsubishi Shogun. Number 9 goes to the Nissan Navara. Only just ahead of it at number 8 is the Toyota Land Cruiser. Land Rover has its lowest top 10 entry at number 7 with the Freelander. For number 6, it's the Isuzu D-Max. And just ahead of it at number 5 is the penultimate Japanese model on this list, the Mitsubishi L200. Number 4 is the Ford Ranger. Next we have a couple of Land Rovers, the Defender at number 3 and the Discovery at number 2. There is a clear winner with 14% of the market all on its own. It is famously the choice of revolutionaries, guerrilla fighters and terrorists the world over, according to Top Gear, the Toyota Hilux. There you go. We are all terrorists. I thought so. Now, from the motor vehicle to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Here is an exciting end to tracking a wounded pig from Hunting with Stu in Australia. It's a hit-up, a running shot, then a follow-up as it happens. Christopher Clausen in Norway uses thermal optics and his own Clausen game calls to bring in foxes and a badger in this short promo film. Scenes from a German forest. Next, Jürgen NRW is sitting out for a roebuck. Many find buck hunting in August hard work, but Jürgen NRW says that the month is exciting and fulfilling, mainly because it is not a surefire success, though he is able to show off his new Zeiss thermal. Moving to night vision, Vermin Basher Pest Control is out after rabbits in the UK. He uses the sight mark Wraith with more than a little success. Fancy some venison. Aaron the Butcher shows a new take on the venison steak before Ruahine Hunter and his mates head into the Ruahine Mountains of New Zealand's North Island looking for red deer. Last week we covered spearfishing off Cornwall. Well, apparently some spearfishers go to clearer, warmer waters, though I doubt such a thing can exist. Here is a catch and cook film from the Great Barrier Reef from Zachary Schmidt. Thanks to Jeremy Mallet from International Sportsman, who writes to say he enjoyed our spearfishing film. Here's International Sportsman on a South Florida alligator hunt, calling in and going eye to eye with a gator and using a pocket-sized shotgun called an American Guncraft Diabolo. And finally, I get a lot of requests for Meat Eater, and here's another one. It's from September last year, sent in by Ian Jensen, and it's episode 1 where Stephen Rinella and Mark Kenyon buy a farm, 64 acres of deer hunting possibilities in the heart of Michigan. That's it for this week. I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the eye symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that's it for this week. If you haven't done so, please whiz over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, pop your email address into our register page and we'll contact you about the show. Fieldsports Britain is at 7 PM UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Fieldsports Britain from the very wet Lake District here in Cumbria. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.